The scene starts in a cold, red, and cruel time. In the cages, people cry in despair, screaming that it's too painful for them and begging to be released. A river of blood flows through the cages as they scream in unison for the demon Bai Qingling. Their voices are filled with hatred as they curse him, calling him a despicable and shameless demon, vowing to tear him into shreds. Amid this chaos, a throne made of bones sits prominently, and on it, a figure is seated. Pupils dilate, the person slowly regains consciousness, questioning the strange smell. His thoughts swirl as he realizes something shocking, that he is transmigrated. The protagonist, who is just playing a game, realizes that this is the final boss scene from the game he played previously. He remembers that the villain boss was called something like that. A mirror-friendly portal opens in front of him, and in the reflection, he sees his own image. Qingling recognizes that it's him, the demon lord Bai Qingling. Unexpectedly, he has transmigrated into the biggest villain. The protagonist speculates that this guy is a vicious character. He even controls 3 beautiful disciples. As the demon lord Bai Qingling, he is the common final villain from all endings in the traditional Chinese seaman game Immortal Love. He deceived his master, eradicated his ancestors, and even planned to have his own master tossed into an alchemical furnace to be refined into a human elixir. To keep the matter of his master's murder a secret, he used forbidden spells to massacre his sect, leaving behind only one little junior, his martial sister. In the end, Bai Qingling used his identity as the Kangming sect's temple master to fight to the death with the strongest person of the righteous path, Mu Xin Lan. Bai Qingling spent 1,000 years cultivating and paid a heavy price to barely escape back to the Kangming sect. The protagonist is devastated, realizing that Bai Qingling has just painstakingly escaped back to his old den. This is the storyline close to the final ending. He thinks that the demon lord at his peak was at the immortalization stage of cultivation, and now he has fallen into such a pathetic state. He remembers clearly that at this point, Bai Qingling in the original game was going to die soon, poisoned to death by his most trusted third disciple, To Hu Meshang. The Lord of Dead David campaigns with Bai Qingling in the original game was going to die soon, poisoned to death by his most trusted third disciple. Qingling hears a knock at the door, and a girl asks if he's inside, informing him that it's time for his medicine. She enters the room as Qingling realizes that she is here. While Qingzhou speculates about her senior sister's words to kill the demon lord, as after she kills him, everything will be over. Qingling speculates that just like in the original game, his third disciple, Senzinger, has been instigated to use the opportunity of providing medicine to poison him with a pill given by the male character Shao Chen, asking her to kill him. Qingling knows that right now he is Bai Qingling, the demon lord. Qingling decides that he doesn't want to die yet. At the very least, he can't let that charming main character, Shao Chen, enjoy his disciple's betrayal. Suddenly, a couple of status bars appear in front of Qingling, congratulating him and informing him that he has been bound with the legendary Great Love system. He is also informed that he has received a beginner quest to use his Great Love to emotionally influence Senzinger and make her let go of her resentment, becoming completely devoted to him. Qingling is confused, thinking about the absurd thing of the Great Love system. He questions if Bai Qingling isn't a demon lord who does all kinds of evil without batting an eye. Even if it's a common cheat for a transmigrator, this is ridiculous. Qingling, overstating his thoughts, realizes that it's not necessary. In the original game, developing goodwill from Sen Jingyin only started after his death, which also means that even though the story has progressed to this stage, she still couldn't bear to let him go. Whether Bai Qingling likes her isn't important to Sen Jingyin, and this is the only point of breakthrough for him. Qingling waves his hand and a gust of wind thrusts through the room. Senzinger opens her eyes to see the whole ground clean. Qingling smiles, asking her not to be so cautious and to come closer. Senzinger is surprised by this reaction, thinking that this man, who was always above everyone else, actually has a hint of warmth in his voice. She bows to Qingling, calling him the great martial artist. She tries to be brave, saying that there's nothing to worry about, as martial brother Shao Chen used his life to guarantee that Bai Qingling's vitality is greatly injured. As long as he consumes the Void Soul Eater pill, his body will perish and his Tao will disperse, ensuring that he won't be reincarnated. Qingzinger calls out for Qingling, informing him that the spiritual garden she is responsible for has produced another batch of 100 100-year-old spiritual herbs. She presents the 9-transformation magic pill that he had asked for a while ago. Qingling questions if it's ready so quickly, adding if she is sure this pill is properly refined. Xingzinger, quite taken aback, responds that she doesn't dare be neglectful. She thinks he has to be a few years into practice and is beyond nervous about it, and so begins. She tells him that she and the elder from the blood refining hall refined this pill for 2 months, and its quality should be at least 7th grade or above. Qingling questions her, a 7th grade, to ask why there is a 9-colored glow near the entrance of the bottle, and when was she and the blood refining hall able to refine a 9th grade pill. Xingzinger quickly explains that it's the effect of the supplementary ingredients which she added herself. Qingling glares at her, questioning if it was incidental or accidental. Xingzinger bows down, stating that she didn't mean any harm. She assures him that although she added supplementary ingredients, the pill still has the effects of the original 9th grade. If there's any loss in its effect, she is willing to be severely punished. Qingling thinks to himself, such eagerness to convince him to consume it, thinking if his good disciple really wants him to die quickly. But the person at his weakest state is when he's most vulnerable, and the foreplay must be sufficient for the so-called great love to penetrate deep into his soul. As the elixir floats toward his hand, Xingzinger questions if he's going to take it immediately. She remembers his hand from before and pauses, questioning if Master is not satisfied. Why doesn't she take the pill back into the furnace to refine it again? Qingling gets closer to Xingzinger and questions why she hates him so much that she wants to kill her master so eagerly, making Xingzinger shocked by his words. Qingling asks Xingzinger to come with him, to which Xingzinger gets teary-eyed and asks if the master does not believe in her. Qingling tells her to keep up and orders her not to ask any more questions. Xingzinger complies, following him toward the staircase as they head down. Qingling secretly thinks that, as expected, she still lacks the courage or conviction to defy him, and he can turn things around as long as he uses this to his advantage. They reach the blood storage basement level, where Xingzinger is visibly shocked. She fears that Qingling knows this is where Bai Qingling ingested the poisonous elixir. It is also the place where the original main character, Xiao Chen, made his final attack. The game had made it seem peaceful, but in reality, it's cruel when seen firsthand. These were all people from the Cyclops clan who lived in the Great Shiwan Mountain in Nanjiang. He had once been deceived by the clan leader Tuoba Changyu and endured such extreme torture that death seemed preferable. Tuoba Changyu had wanted to strip him of his innate demonic powers. Thankfully, his demon blood activated at the last minute, allowing him to escape successfully after completing his demonic art. The first thing he did was return to the Great Shiwan Mountain to repay the hospitality shown by the Cyclops clan. Seeing this, Xingzinger realizes that it wasn't just Master's master who wanted to take his demonic power. The Cyclops clan had also plotted against him. She wonders if anyone who has endured such treatment would become ruthless and indifferent to the world. She believes Master shouldn't have been treated that way, but her senior sister had already warned her about this man's true nature. She wonders if she doesn't kill him this time, how many more lives will be lost at his hands? Qingling calls out to Xingzinger, telling her they're not there yet. What he truly wants her to see is inside, as he opens the closer gate. They enter a hall where 10 orbs float in the air. Xingzinger recognizes them as shadow demon pearls. Her senior sister had informed her that the shadow demon pearls can monitor a person's every move and provide feedback upon the owner's request. The shadow demon pearls in his room were crafted by Master Xingzinger, Cunning One. Qingling calls out to Xingzinger, they have been monitoring them ever since they joined him, as they are not his disciples, but tools on a leash. She pushes Xingzinger to do things, control and touch as he pleases. Xingzinger knows that her senior sister told her to pretend she didn't know about the existence of those pearls. Now, she wonders why Master is showing her these things himself. Qingling tells Xingzinger to raise her head and look closely, which she does, seeing the pearls displaying a scene where a little girl is crying, and a group of thugs is threatening her to stop crying, as they try to kill her. Quote, from behind, Qingling steps in and finishes them off. The girl asks who he is, and Qingling introduces himself as Bai Qingling. The girl begs him, asking if he's a god and to help her mom and dad. Qingling replies that gods disregard mortals, and demons don't abandon the living. He tells her to come with him to their home. Xingzinger watches this as Qingling calls out to her, explaining that his master has countless enemies, and his disciples will naturally become targets. The shadow demon pearl is just one of his tactics to protect her when she's in danger. She asks if he means that he was always using the shadow pearl to protect them, not to monitor them. Qingju replies that Master has deliberately treated her unkindly these years. Everyone knows she has reasons to hate her master. If he were to accidentally die, her three sisters would still have a reason to side with the enemy and keep themselves safe. It would have been best if he could keep this a secret forever, but since she had already decided to kill her master, it made Sing Zing grit her teeth as she cried out. Qingling tells her not to mind. As long as she is safe, everything else is not important. King Jingjiro dashes toward Qingling to hug him, crying out that she was wrong and shouldn't have believed what others said. She's just a big dummy and should have known from the start that Master is the best person in the whole world. She was truly wrong and begged for Master's forgiveness, expressing her genuine love for him. Qingling hugs her back, but with a smug smile. A status bar opens to notify Qingling that he has completed the beginner quest and earned 500 points and a golden treasure chest. Qingling realizes that the quest is complete, and this counts as using great love to influence Sen Singer's emotions. He thinks he can't afford to dwell on it, as in order to survive, he must change the storyline of his eventual death, and Sen Singer's loyalty is an indispensable factor in that. Tells Senzinger about her rebellious behavior, expressing that he can't understand her actions and asking who the scoundrel is that managed to sweet-talk her into doing this. Senzinger bows down and reports to her master, stating that it was Yingui Temple's direct disciple Xiao Qian who sowed discord between the master and her. He even used sweet words to make Second Singer's sister side with him, creating a rift between them. Senzinger refers to her naming in her new covenant, but the question of how much even truly did does seem to be mystified to a lot of people. She explains that everything that happened today was because she had been deceived by Xiao Chen, and requests Master to inflict the heinous punishment on her as long as he doesn't chase her away. Qingling smiles and says that since that's the case, this vulnerable one will give her a second chance. He asks her to do him a favor, and in return, he will pardon all her sins. Sen Jinger, completely bewitched, eagerly pleads for him to give her some command. The scene shifts to the Kangming Shek's Yoluo Temple, where the original game's male lead, Xiao Chen, is questioning senior sister Tantai about why junior sister Sunyo Senjiger hasn't returned. He wonders if the demon has realized something is off, and if junior sister Xin Zinger has been exposed. Bai Qingling's second disciple, Tantai Lingyin, replies that as per Chen Zinger's agreement, whether she succeeds or not, she will transmit word to her as soon as possible. Since there has been no news, it means the plan is still in motion. Xiao Chen states that this won't do and he must check it out himself. There is absolutely no room for mistakes. However, Tantai Lingyin points her sword at Xiao Chen's neck, urging him not to be rash. She reminds him that the outside of the blood storage is filled with terrifying restrictions, and only Xin Zinger is permitted to enter. If Xiao Chen forces his way in, he will be seeking his own death. Xiao Chen, realizing this, states that they should wait longer. He spots Zhen Zinger returning, and upon seeing her, smiles, relieved that nothing has happened to her. He says that her senior brother was so worried trying to hold her, but Zhen Zinger taking her hands back and seeing her angry, furious face, Xiao Chen is taken aback. He wonders if she is seriously retreating, considering all the help he's given her over the years. Xiao Chen says, quote, "Right, I'm right," she states. Is he not even allowed to briefly hold her hand in such a situation? After all, Xin Jinger didn't even let him grab her hand. Meanwhile, Tantai Lingyin asked Xian Jinger if she is alright, questioning whether she succeeded in her mission and why she didn't transmit word to her senior sister as agreed. Xian Jinger replies that she was successful, delighting Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen is beyond happy, explaining that since he was 12, he had been undercover in the Kangming demon sect for a total of 10 years. Now that he has finally eliminated the giant of the demonic path, whose name was known throughout the continent, he will definitely become famous among the righteous path in the future. Chen Zinger reports that the demon was ignorant, believing he had already controlled her, and consumed the White Soul Eater pill. During this period, her emotions fluctuated greatly, and she was afraid of exposing any weakness. That's why she didn't dare transmit any word. Xiao Chen tells Xian Zinger that in that case, there is no need to rush. The poison pill was personally bought by his master from the black market for a hefty sum of gold. If they wait 7 days for the poison to reach its peak, even the strongest would not escape bodily death and soul destruction. Tantai Lingyin interrupts, stating that it's not that they can't wait for 7 days, but she has a doubt and hopes junior brother Xiao Chen will clarify it. Although that demon committed countless evils, it doesn't seem like he had any grievances with junior brother Xiao Chen. She questions why he agreed to cooperate with them and even suggested using such a vicious poison pill. Senju agrees, stating that Xiao Chen appeared to be so enthusiastic about it. Xiao Chen flexes, explaining that it's naturally because he couldn't bear to see that demon abuse and bully both of them for so long. He wanted to rescue them from the Sea of Fire. Xiao Chen's Xinyu questions if Xiao Chen truly didn't understand her concern for them, to which Xiao Chen gets behind Tantai Linyin and asks if Xiao Chen did all of this for them from the start, making Xiao Chen quite taken aback. Tantai Linyin ponders for a moment, then shrugs it off, stating that they should end it for today and meet again after 7 days. It's getting late, and she asks junior brother Xiao Chen if he shouldn't delay his evening lessons at Yingui Temple. Xiao Chen affirms, stating that he will see them in the coming days, but he questions inwardly why women are always so fickle as he leaves. Tanta Lingyan calls out for Senju, asking if she's being honest with her, and if she's deeply saddened. Senju asks Tantai Lingyan if she has ever thought that Master might not be what they originally imagined him to be. Perhaps he was a little harsh to them, but he would never harm them. Tantai Lingyan replies that the evidence Xiao Chen's brother has already provided proves that Bai Qingling only views them as materials for his human puppets. If the Bai Yao Qing Soria Ming Chu, even if all his nefarious acts are ignored, they can't forgive him. Sinjinger sighs alone as the scene shifts to Qingling, who made Sinjinger buy some time for him to catch his breath. Xiao Chen and his second disciple will definitely not realize at the start that Sinjinger has been won over by him. Right now, he should check the reward the system gave him. He summons the treasure chest and thinks it looks identical to the treasure chest from the original game. As he opens it, a status bar appears before him, congratulating him and offering him the choice of one of 3 items within the chest. The first item is the adjustable divine rod, personally crafted by the founder of the Hua sect. It is effective against female cultivators up to the same cultivation stage. The second is the Bedroom Sutra, the Arts of Shaft, a divine technique created by the first ancestral elder of the Hua sect, capable of temporarily strengthening a specific part of the body. The third is the Demon Lord's Cultivation Stage Reversion Experience card, which reverses space and time to allow the host to revert back to any previous cultivation stage. She then questions what the hell these 2 items are, and whether they even use the Demon Lord's Cultivation Stage Reversion Experience card and the Demon Lord's Cultivation Stage Reversion Experience rod. He wonders if they're meant for demonic cultivation, but they're clearly meant for human cultivation. Qingling chooses the Demon Lord's Cultivation Stage Reversion Experience card, thinking that it allows him to revert back to any previous cultivation stage. He grins. If this doesn't mean he could revert his cultivation to when Bai Qingling was at the peak of the immortalization stage, Qingling thinks that Sen Jingye should have followed his order to meet with Tantai Linyin, while he is glad that the poison plan succeeded. According to the original storyline, they will only enter the blood storage after 7 days to check on his corpse, and the restrictions at the blood storage will weaken as he slowly dies. Finally, the main character, Xiao Chen, who has been undercover in the demonic sect, will deal the final blow personally. Within these 7 days, Qingling must make the necessary preparations. Qingling approaches a well of blood and calls out that he is the demon lord Bai Qingling, and he will defy heaven's will and change his fate. A box emerges from the well, and Qingling realizes that Bai Qingling had previously taken out and hit his cultivation core and 5 organs, replacing them with other objects. Even if he faces defeat in a decisive battle, as long as his soul remnant escapes, he can reconstruct a perfect body. Now that he knows the future plot is useless, it's better to keep this move for the future and retrieve them early to recover his former strength as soon as possible. He cultivates and activates the cultivation core to return to his place, smiling as he realizes that this cultivation core is the source of Bai Qingling's foundation. His injuries have healed directly, and his strength has returned to the foundation building stage. He checks his strength and finds that his slash has just penetrated through the wall. Qingling is delighted, thinking this is the kind of strength the final villain should have. Qingling receives a telepathic message from Chen Qinger, informing him that she has completed his mission and returned with an item she wishes to give him. Qingling wonders what this girl can give him, as the game didn't seem to have this part. Chen Qinger enters, reporting that the evil villain Xiao Chen was delighted upon hearing that Qingling had consumed the poison pill. The second senior sister is acting normal and hasn't yet suspected Xin Jinger. Qingling asks what else Xiao Chen said, to which Xin Jinger replies that he mentioned the poison's effect would reach its peak after 7 days. Even Dalu Qingxian would find it difficult to escape death. Jiao Chen instructed his disciple to return after 7 days to check on Master's corpse and push all the blame onto Mu Xinlan. Xinjur speculates that she has just learned of Xiao Chen's complete plan and didn't expect him to be so vicious and shameful. She states that she has an item to offer to the Master, the real 9 transformation soul reinforcing pill, which greatly surprises Qingling. Qingling is stunned, as the 9 transformation soul reinforcing pill only existed in the original game's gallery and was impossible for players to obtain. He questions where Sensinger got this real 9th grade treasure pill, noting that with this real item his confidence in changing the ending will increase by several fold. Qingling tries to act normal, stating that she kisses it on her cheek, asking for forgiveness for acting on her own, as she loves to be touched by Master. Qingling gets embarrassed by this delicate feeling as if his hand will sink in if he presses a little harder. He pulls his hand back, calling her a disciple and questioning who gave her the courage to be so forward with her Master. He pats her head, stating that touching her head will be enough as a reward for offering the pill. Singer giggles, saying she was too ignorant. However, the place where she wants to be rewarded is not only her head. She grabs Qingling's hand, embarrassing Qingling. A status bar notifies and congratulates Qingling for successfully spreading great love, awarding him 500 points and unlocking the system shop. The scene shifts to the Yingui Temple bedroom, where Xiao Chen bows down, greeting his master of the Kangming sect's Yingui temples, Hua Yurong. Hua Yurong states that she heard Qingling not only lost all his magical powers, but was also poisoned, with his life hanging by a thread. Xiao Chen affirms that he has a good relationship with Qingwing's 3rd disciple, Chen Zinger, who informed him of it herself. He suggests that if Master heads to the blood storage to kill Qingling right now, the position of the next sect leader will definitely belong to the Master. However, Xiao Chen is slapped as Hua Yarong reminds him that, in the past, Qingling was the direct disciple of the alchemy grandmaster Xiao Chu, and his alchemy skills were even better than his master's. She questions what kind of poisonous spell could make him so helpless. Xiao Chen tries to explain himself, but feeling Hua Yarong's glare, bows down. He states that this disciple is wrong, and it seems like fake information about Qingling being poisoned, which is a way of luring and lowering people's guard. He takes his leave. Hua Yurong secretly smiles to herself, questioning whether the senior brother spared her life that year to make her resent him and drive her to seek revenge in the future. She reflects that his life will soon be personally ended by her. The scene shifts as Kennex Singer, thanking Qingling for his rewards, states that she will take her leave, giggling quietly as she exits. Qingling thinks to himself that his hand just did something vulnerable and questions if the system just said that the point shop is open. He decides to take a look after seeing the status bar congratulating him for unlocking the point shop. The system informs him that he can spend points to exchange for treasure chests, and as the total points spent increase, more chests will be gradually unlocked. With his current 1,000 points, Qingling can buy a bronze chest for 100 points, a silver chest for 1,000 points, a gold chest for 5,000 points, a platinum chest for 1,000 points, and a diamond chest. The extra wagon chest and mythical chest are still unavailable for him right now, is the gold chest, which he got for free pre restart life. Qingling is shocked, thinking that the system is scamming him for points. He's already fully familiar with the story plot, and isn't the lust destruction knife just a castration knife? The life restart pill is a one-time use item. He screams, frustrated, realizing that the first pull is just a marketing strategy to lure people into spending points. He accuses the system of trying to scam him out of his 1,000 points with trash options, questioning if it even knows how to do business. He calls it the dog system, as the demon Bai Feng, who bows down and greets him as Lord Master. Qingling realizes that this is Feng Lixue, and she's 1,000 times more beautiful than the game illustrations. Her body shape, her cold yet warm personality, and everything about her are exactly his taste. Hua Yerong wonders that he's never been this entranced before. He thinks if the rumors spreading outside are true, she decides that she should send word to the second junior sister to act earlier. As she smiles, Qingling questions Hua Yerong with a straight face, asking what she's laughing at, and if her master is very funny. Hua Yerong sweats nervously, realizing that Qingling is still the same. The familiar pressure and terrifying gaze could easily crush all her pride and self-esteem. She doesn't want to anger him and trigger the evil rune etched onto her abdomen, which would cause her to suffer heart-raging punishment again. Qingling questions if she's ready, to which Hua Yerong replies that, as per Master's will, the foothills of Hishui Mountain, where the demon-suppressing locator has been cleared, are no longer patrolled controlled by the righteous sect, allowing her to scale it. Qingling smiles, praising her and telling her to continue with her mission, which is to invade the demon-suppressing tower and obtain the secret item that Master desires. Hua Yuerong abides, agreeing to follow his orders. She thinks to herself that Qingling is sure enough, still ruthless and unyielding. She questions how she could have had the wrong idea about taking advantage of him earlier. As she prepares to leave, Qingling stops her, asking her to wait a moment. Hua Yuerong questions if he has any more orders, to which Qingling approaches her and asks what day it is. Today. Hua Yuerong, quite confused, replies that she's foolish and asks him to enlighten her. Qingling replies that time flies, and after tonight she will be entering the golden age of youth, surprising Yuerong. Qingling adds that 14 years have passed since that very day. Even if no one in the world remembers, he will never forget the day she followed him up the mountain. He smiles and wishes her a happy birthday. Hua Yuerong smiles, but as she turns away, tears fall from her eyes. She sighs and takes her leave. Qingling is notified by the status bar, which pops up in front of him, congratulating him for successfully spreading great love and awarding him 2,000 points, bringing his total to 3,000 points. Qingling thinks that this time he wasn't intentionally trying to gain Hua Yuerong's favor. It was purely because he liked her character design when playing the game and had noted down her birthday. Now that all 3 of his disciples have been pacified, there shouldn't be any issues in the next 7 days. Qingling takes out the 9 transformation soul reinforcing pill, thinking that using it might allow him to reach the virtuoso stage in one go, which should be as easy as flipping his hand. After that, he'll begin the art of crushing the male protagonist Xiao Chen with ease, as Qingling begins the process of cultivation. At Kang Mingsang Yingnu Temple Demon Palace, Xiao Chen is practicing with swords with his brother when his companion asks what's wrong and if something is on his mind. Xiao Chen replies that nothing is wrong, thanking the junior brother for his concern. He then questions whether the junior brother gave the phoenix hairpin to Yuluo Temple's junior sister Sen as he asked, and if she accepted the gift and was happy. Xiao Chen and Kang Ming talk until Yudu Sang Yukgu Ais. The junior brother is taken aback and confused. Xiao Chen presses further, asking if junior sister Sen prepared a gift in return on the spot. The junior brother honestly states that he gave it to her, but she split it in half right then and there, shocking Xiao Chen, who drops his sword in disbelief. Xiao Chen grabs his hair, wondering why, after the first step of his plan to remove that demon succeeded, Xiao Chen Jinger must have been deeply missing him, questioning why she did reject his gift. And if everything else, the junior brother informs him that not only did junior sister Sen break the phoenix hairpin, but she also said something to him. Xiao Chen questions what she said, and the junior brother explains that she hoped senior brother Xiao Chen would never look for her again, fearing that the person in her heart would misunderstand. This makes Xiao Chen cough up blood and stagger backward in shock. The junior brother calls out, asking if Xiao Chen is alright. Xiao Chen stands up furiously, questioning who dares to steal from him and take his crush. Once he finds out who it is, he vows never to let them go easily. The scene shifts to Qingling, who is absorbing the pill. He realizes that he has re-entered the virtuoso stage. Furthermore, he has refined a high-grade core that every demonic cultivator desires, the 900 demonic core. Not only is this core equal to infinite magical power, but it's something the original Bai Qingling couldn't refine. Although he is still far from the peak of the immortalization stage, he is already unmatched against those in the virtuoso stage. Later, Xinzinger arrives with a delighted expression, congratulating Qingling and saying that she is honored to share in Master's happiness. Qingling replies that her contribution in providing the pill will not be forgotten. From this day forward, she doesn't need to stand on ceremony or use honorific titles anymore. Xinzinger thanks her master and asks him to listen to her story. She explains that this morning, Xiao Chen actually wanted to give her a gift to win her favor, but ended up snapping it in half on the spot. She smiles, calling Xiao Chen blind and thinking that he could never fully enchant her. Xinzinger comments that it's a shame the gift broke, wondering if it wasn't part of Xiao Chen's body. Qingling notices something unusual, as Xinzinger suggests that she would have felt even better if it had been. Qingling calls for Xinzinger to come closer, while Xinzinger is confused but agrees to approach. Qingling asks her to take off her shoes, stating that he wants her to do so or he will repeat the command. Xinzinger replies that the souls of female demon cultivators are objects of darkness that could easily contaminate the earth. Even Hewan's sex won't easily let her legs be shown to others. However, Sen Xingir agrees and takes off her shoes, revealing a crest upon her foot. Qingling states that this is the Miyama poison from the sky demon flower in demon form. He questions why she didn't tell him. Senjinger explains that it's just a minor issue not worth worrying about. As long as she can refine a pill that satisfies the master, she won't hesitate, even if the poison attacks her heart and spreads poisonous sources all over her body. She is dedicated to the master and nothing else is important. Qingling is taken aback by her passionate dedication, questioning if this is just a dating game and whether she plans to kill him with her feelings. He tries to act nonchalant, asking Sensinger to sit on the throne. Sensinger is surprised by his tone, but Qingling insists she sit, stating that he will help her detoxify the poison. Sensinger tries to question if Master is going to use his poisoning blood to purify the poison from the demon. Sensinger tries to deny it, stating that she absolutely won't allow it, as Master is a demon lord who stands above everything, and how could he be corrupted by her wretched body? But Qingling grabs her leg, as Sensinger thinks that a person as highly esteemed as Master is actually willing to get close to her. He's not lying to her, he really cares about her. Senjinger is further enchanted by Qingling's actions and calls out for him not to touch her there. After a moment, Qingling informs her that it's done, and that he has sucked all the poison out of her body. She should be fine now, though completely exhausted. Senzinger, drained and unable to speak, just nods weakly. Qingling asks how long she plans to sit on his throne, making her shudder. She quickly gets to her feet and bids Qingling to take his leave. Qingling is notified that he has successfully spread great love, and he receives 2,000 points, bringing his total to 5,000 points. He calls out to the system, wanting to check his skills and techniques. A status bar opens, informing Qingling of his cultivation stage, which is now the virtuoso stage. His techniques include the supreme breath condensation technique, heavily demonic transformation, Dragon Sutra, elegy of the bloody seas, and 9 peaks sky burning technique, with supporting skills in pill refining, poison technique, beast taming technique, and alchemy technique. Qingling thinks that while his virtuoso stage cultivation is impressive, he still can't control Bai Qingling's demonic techniques or the defying techniques that challenge heaven. The skill he can rely on most right now is the insect poison technique. According to the original game, Xiao Chen will enter the blood storage tomorrow to try and defeat him. Qingling decides he'll send the perfect poisonous insect to take care of him. But Qingling summons an insect, stating that he hopes Xiao Chen will like this great gift. The scene shifts to the blood storage, 3rd floor underground, where Qingling walks down as the spirits not so subtly scream out to kill and curse the demon. They call out to the temple master, noting that they are both brethren of the demonic path, and plead that they've yet to treat him to a meal. Qingling approaches a cage, and a person calls out to him, asking what he wants. Qingling giggles, knowing at a glance that this person has the face of the protagonist. In the game, Bai Qingling had captured this person to use as a test subject while he was out. Only after Bai Qingling died and triggered the side mission would this person's true identity be revealed. Qingling calls out to the person, Zhao Yi, Kunlun Taoist sect Yu Shuzi's last direct disciple in the virtuoso stage, with impressive techniques like his Kunlun's divine sword technique. Qingling compliments him, calling him the genius of the young generation on the righteous path. Xiao Yi, clearly surprised, asks how Qingling knows about his identity. Qingling responds that because his junior brother Xiao Chen will come to find him soon, and it just so happens that the two of them are very close. They can take care of each other. Xiao Yi screams that if Qingling dares to touch a single hair on his brother, he will never stop hunting him down, even if he becomes a full ghost. Qingling notes that there's already demonic light flowing in Xiao Yi's eyes, confirming that he has secretly learned some demonic cultivation techniques through the soul-binding banner. It's no wonder that in the original side mission, he could help Xiao Chen unlock the Taoist heart demon and step onto the dual path of Taoist demon cultivation. Qingling smiles, stating that he has always hated being threatened, but he is willing to give Xiao Yi a chance. He proposes a game. If Xiao Yi wins, Qingling will let him go and reunite him with his junior brother. But if Xiao Yi loses, he will be completely refined by the soul bind. Xiao Yi screams, asking if he really is Qingling's opponent, then why would he have fallen to his current state? Qingling calls out for the supreme breath and condensation technique, releasing it. He explains that his cultivation was burned out by Mu Xinlan, and he has just stepped back onto the path of cultivation. Right now, their abilities are on the same level, both at the virtuoso stage. Qingling gives Xiao Yi the opportunity, asking him to make his choice. Xiao Yi stands up, agreeing to the challenge. He tells Qingling to let him out and that he will fight him to the death. While the insect slyly flies towards Xiao Yi from behind, Xiao Yi calls calls out to Qingling, saying he never expected Qingling to return his physical body and Taoist sword back to him. He's even more surprised that Qingling's cultivation level has fallen to the virtuoso stage, screaming that the heavens are really looking for someone like him. Qingling replies that it's a recultivation, not a fall. Xiao Yi, however, dismisses it, stating that none of that matters anymore. He's not interested in the secrets of someone who is surely going to die. Qingling smiles, questioning why Xiao Yi is so confident. Xiao Yi responds that the last time he was defeated and captured, it was because his cultivation level was significantly lower than Qingling's. But now that they're at the same level, taking his life would be as easy as killing chickens or slaughtering dogs. Qingling affirms this, telling Xiao Yi to come at him. Xiao Yi summons Yin and Yang, rushing into Kunlun Mountain with the reckless sword. He calls forth a countless number of huge swords, raising them to launch an attack on Qingling using the Kunlun Divine Sword technique. The huge barrage of sword raises toward Qing, one that can defeat everyone in the beginning stages. Moreover, it's much stronger when Xiao Yi uses it, compared to Xiao Chen. He adds that if he hadn't died in the plot, the title of protagonist would have been difficult to place. Qingling uses his qi and bares his fist, stating that he will use Xiao Yi to test the purity of his new body. He punches down the swords, throwing back the attack and making Xiao Yi cough up blood. Xiao Yi utters that it's impossible. How could Qingling have reached this level? Qingling reveals that there are differences, even among cultivators of the same stage, and Xiao Yi has lost. Xiao Yi screams that he can't accept it, that he won't accept it. He claims he only happened to hit the weakness of his sword formation by an inch. Qingling giggles, saying that nothing would have changed, and questions if Xiao Yi didn't realize that some delicious condiments were added to his physical body. Xiao Yi, with a despaired look, asks what Qingling means, and Qingling reveals that insects are crawling all over Xiao Yi's body, and Qingling reveals that insects are crawling all over Xiao Yi's body. Xiao Yi screams in horror, recognizing them as the most vicious and poisonous insects, the 9 evil bone-gnawing insects. Qingling despicable. Qingling explains that if Xiao Yi's attack had truly been dangerous, those little insects would have eaten him first. In other words, Xiao Yi will always be the loser in this game as the insects devour him alive. Qingling remarks that despite being at the same cultivation level, Xiao Yi should know his place. As Xiao Yi's soul ascends from his body, Qingling questions the system if telling Xiao Yi the truth in his final moments is not a form of spreading great love. A success is aware of the future eccentricities on Earth, where it's going, and where it's coming from. Qingling calls out to the system, wondering if he should be awarded more points, but there's no response. Furious, Qingling demands to know why he hasn't received any points. He questions if it's because Xiao Yi was destined to die in the story, or because he's a man. Qingling sighs, noting that becoming familiar with casting the poisonous technique is a slight gain anyway. He reflects that tomorrow Xiao Chen will come to deliver his head, and Xiao Chen won't be able to cause trouble behind his back now. If Qingling tells Xiao Chen about Xiao Yi's current condition, Qingling wonders if Xiao Chen will still have the heart to kill him. The scene shifts to Xiao Chen, who is deep in thought, trying to protect the 3 disciples of Qingling. He's defending them, certain they're on the same side, and pleading with his master to say something. Xiao Chen wakes from his dream, calling for help, realizing he was talking in his sleep. Fortunately, he didn't wake his junior brother. Xiao Chen knows today is the 6th day, and the soul-eating poison in Qingling's body should have already spread to its limit. However, Senzinger has been acting strangely recently, and Xiao Chen fears there may be a flaw in the plan. He decides that if he doesn't check personally, he won't be able to relieve the uneasiness in his heart. Is going, noting that it's too early. Xiao Chen replies that he's going to Tianyuan Lake at the foot of Lulu Mountain for a spin as he feels like eating fish. At the entrance gate to the blood storage, Senzinger calls out to her master, asking if she has permission to enter. Qingling turns around, having just come out of the 3rd basement floor, and asks when Senzinger arrived. He thinks she should only be here tomorrow afternoon, while Xiao Chen is expected in the morning. He wonders if something might have gone wrong. Qingling grants her permission to enter, and Senzinger steps inside. He asks why she came to find him. Senzinger reveals that she's inexplicably worried and came to take a look. Qingling asks what she means. Does she think Xiao Chen would be able to plot against him? Or is she trying to suggest that he was heavily injured by Mu Xinlen and became a cripple? As a thunderstorm rages outside, Zhenxing'er denies it, saying she wouldn't dare say such a thing, she's just worried. Qingling realizes this worry stems from the thunder outside. He recalls that when Zhenxing'er's parents were killed on the same night he saved her, there was a ferocious storm, much like the one tonight. That night remains the greatest trauma in her heart. In the original game, winning over Zhenxing'er depended on how well one could manage the plot during rainy days. Zhenxing'er tries to make an embarrassing request, asking to sleep with Qingling to take him by surprise. She thinks that although she looks incredibly mesmerizing right now, the major event of killing Xiao Chen, which will derail the main plot, is about to happen. There must not be any problems. Qingling screams in anger at her presumptuous request. Qinju dashes toward him to hug him, saying she's really afraid of the thunder and pleading to stay for just one night. Qingling questions what being afraid of thunder has to do with him. He points out that blood storage prohibits anyone except him from staying. If he makes an exception and lets her stay tonight, what will become of his pride as the Lord of Yulo Temple? The scene shifts to the royal residence of the underground palace, where Kunjuk Singer sleeps beside Qingling. A status bar opens, congratulating Qingling for successfully spreading great love and rewarding him with 2,500 points. Qingling thinks that his character as the Demon Lord is about to collapse, and no one can understand him because his personality is just too caring and considerate. As Qingling looks at Shenzinger's body, Shenzinger reflects that her master's only focus is on obtaining immortality. She thinks, how could she compare to that? Today, he actually forgave her rudeness and even accepted her fear, allowing her to stay with him. Shenzinger wonders if she's truly worthy of being this happy, and if she could be even happier. As the thunder crashes, Shenzinger turns to get closer to Qingling, catching him by surprise. Qingling questions who permitted her to touch him, warning that she's getting herself into deep trouble. Shenzinger explains that her hands and legs are cold and she's just trying to warm them up. She assures him that she will never advance to the next stage. Qingling is baffled by the mention of advancing to the next stage, thinking that Shenzinger came to find him having moved up the timeline. He wonders what this means, if Xiao Chen will come early to kill him. Realizing it's not time to sleep, Qingling tells Shenzinger to get up. He has an important mission for her, and she must follow his every word from now on. The scene shifts to the foot of the mountain, where Xiao Chen is leaping up the stairs. He declares that today will be the day when Bai Qingling dies, and the day he, Xiao Chen, becomes famous. At a cliff, Qingling's senior second disciple, Tantai Lingyin, is approached by a visitor who asks if she doesn't want to see the end of the demon personally. The visitor, Yo Hongyi, tells Tantai Lingyin it's been 7 days and wonders if she's not curious to witness the demon's downfall. Tantai Lingyin responds, questioning Yi Hongyi, who is her closest sister, and states that she understands that until she's truly separated from her master, she won't tolerate any slander. Yi Hongyi affirms that the Hallmaster is wrong and asks if Tantai Lingyin plans to send her Lord Master off personally. Tantai Lingyin denies it, saying there's no need for that, as her master is her eternal nightmare and the apple of her eye. Meanwhile, Xiao Chen is dashing toward Qingling, thinking that the Tantai Lingyi transformation talisman has proven useful, as not a single disciple guarding the gates of Yulo Temple questioned him. He approaches the gate, feeling confident that success is within reach. Xiao Chen believes that the 10 years of undercover work and hardship have all led to this very day. He is confident with the secret weapon given by his master. What could he possibly be afraid of? Xiao Chen dismisses these witnesses and misdecides on making the undertaking himself as he starts to go through with it. From behind, Senju approaches and Xiao Chen is delighted to see her. He quickly realizes he's been waiting too long and can't afford to be overly nice. Acting casual, Xiao Chen tells Senjuju that she's finally decided to take notice of him, adding that her senior brother has been extremely anxious because of her. Shenzinger smiles and tells Xiao Chen he's mistaken. She's been secretly observing the demon's movements and warns that if the demon notices Xiao Chen coming to look for her, it could spell disaster. Xiao Chen, pleased that she's concerned for him, reassures her that since it's been 7 days, there's no need to worry any longer. He suggests they go in together and kill the demon, making their names known throughout the world. Shenzinger appears scared, admitting that the demon is her inner trauma, and it will be hard to cast it away in such a short time. Xiao Chen assures her that as her senior brother, he will personally behead the demon today, and sweep away the haze in her heart. Qingling cheers him on, setting to fully rely on her brother. Xiao Chen is quite touched by her words, thinking she's so cute and must have come so early to cheer him on. But Qinglinger's eyeing something else. As they open the door and move downstairs, Xiao Chen questions if they're going the right way. He thinks that the secret weapon Master Yujuzi gave him has been suppressed by an unknown power. If this power continues to grow, the weapon won't be able to release even 10% of its potential. Xiao Chen tells Qingling they can't go down any further and should return to the last fork to choose a new path. Jinja replies, questioning what's wrong. She served the demon for many years and insists there's no mistake. This is the only passage to the third basement level where the demon is located. She asks if Xiao Chen doesn't trust her at all. Xiao Chen tries to deny it, telling her not to be upset and assuring her that her senior brother will listen to her. They continue heading down. As they reach the bottom, Xiao Chen notices a plain, open ground. The door shuts behind them, and Xiao Chen encounters Qingling, who greets him as the martial nephew Xiao Chen. Qingling says this is their first meeting. Xiao Chen is baffled to meet Bai Qingling, stating that he's still not dead. Sen Jingke questions why he doesn't look poisoned or near death, wondering if he's not only recovered his abilities, but also removed the pill poison. Xiao Chen asks Sen Singer not to panic and asks her to see his hand, which bears symptoms of the white soul eater pill poison. He claims he's terminally ill, with no way to save him. Xiao Chen smiles, thinking his master was overreacting and that the demon is clearly bluffing, as Qingling mutters to himself, trying to tell Xiao Chen to leave. Qingling questions Xiao Chen if Qingling is enchanting the incantation to activate a formation array, clearly planning to use the blood storage restrictions for his final struggle. Xiao Chen grits his teeth, determined to prevent Qingling from doing as he wishes. He uses the Yin Gui sword technique against Qingling. Qingling tries to stop, but Xiao Chen mocks him, asking if he's begging for mercy, stating it's too late. Xiao Chen tries to slash Qingling, believing he will finally die and accomplish his goal. He asks Qingling to peacefully die while he takes care of his disciples. He pushes Qingling to the cave's edge on stage. He turns on a light and reveals his dying friends, and then he calls on Qingling to watch the finale. However, Xiao Chen realizes that something is wrong. He watches in shock as Qingling transforms into someone else, and as he comes to the realization that it's not Qingling, the person in front of him obliterates his entire existence. Seeing the person in front, Xiao Chen, with utter despair, calls out for his big brother. As the dead corpse falls down and Xiao Chen shivers throughout this trauma, questioning if he is Xiao Yi, calling for his big brother. Xiao Chen moves to his body as he tries to lift it up, asking what's going on. He questions why he is here and why he took the form of that demon. Xiao Yi reveals that it was all that demon's ploy and he wants to kill him. Suddenly, a beam penetrates through Xiao Yi's body, turning the whole body of Xiao Yi to ashes. Qingling enters, giggling that the first thing he does after reuniting is unleash a fatal strike, and the brothers are really loving towards each other. Qingling states that this vulnerable one couldn't bear his look of suffering, so he gave him a quick death. He asks Xiao Yi if he shouldn't be thanking him on behalf of him. Xiao Chen reveals that it's him and he made him like this. Xiao Chen screams that he didn't even let him exchange a few words, as Qingling calls Xiao Chen a fool, questioning if she understands it now, and that all of this is part of the master's astonishing intelligence. Xiao Chen is taken aback that Sen Singer is calling him master, as Qingling states that this vulnerable one's disciple is naturally also his servant. He questions Xiao Chen, asking if he just learned about the rules of the demonic path. Xiao Chen calls out for Sen Singer, stating that he had been seeking her favor all these years. Just now he only touched her hand and she dodged it away in such a manner. But now she is seducing that demon to touch him. He screams, why did she lie to him, questioning why she betrayed him. Chen Zhigo reveals that since the start, Master has truly cared for her. She's willing to serve him until her last breath and give him everything she has. As for Xiao Chen, he intentionally instigated the sisters to kill the master. She hates him so much that she wants to rip out his soul and skin him off, wishing for him to wish for death but be unable to die. Xiao Chen tries to deny this reality, questioning that Sen Sinju definitely could not say these words and that the demon must be using the human puppet technique to control her. Xiao Chen flares up his chi, stating that as long as he kills Qingling, he will be able to save Qin Senju. Even if he isn't poisoned, he won't be any match, since since Mu Xinlan destroyed his cultivation. He dashes toward Qingling to use the cloning technique as Xin Jingxinger calls out for Qingling to be careful, while Qingling uses the demonic eye to witness the truth in one glance, thinking that the distribution of the sword's force and rhythm are all clearly visible in his eyes. Qingling deduces the moment as he stops Xiao Chen's sword with his fingers. Xiao Chen is shocked, questioning if he was in virtuoso realm cultivation, stating that it is impossible. Qingling giggles that the combat power that nephew Xiao Chen unleashes is at most equivalent to the virtuoso stage, and this vulnerable one shall only use the virtuoso stage cultivation to battle with him. It is in his favor as well, as he chunks out the sword. Otherwise, where would he have the power? Xiao Chen realizes that his sword was forged personally by Master Hua Yurong. Senjinger is delighted that Master's cultivation is still present, and sure enough, Mu Xinlan, that evil woman, couldn't destroy Master's cultivation. The apocalyptic demonic lord that everyone fears has returned. Qingling smiles and says that it's time for the fun to end. He asks Xiao Chen to use his secret weapon, the 12th great demon-suppressing golden lotus. Xiao Chen screams at Qingling, asking how he knows about this thing and questioning if every move is within his calculations. He states that now that it's come to this, he can only rely on the master to protect him, stating that he brought this upon himself. He takes out the lotus, summoning the 8 energies of the heavens to come out to kill all that is evil, calling for the 12th grade demon-suppressing golden lotus to rise as the golden lotus absorbs the key. Qingling thinks that he finally used his trump card. The golden lotus is indeed able to harm Bai Qingling in the immortalization stage, and this insignificant body that has just been recultivated to the virtuoso stage won't be able to withstand this thing. But he is fortunate that he already knows the original plot, and as long as he prepares in advance, it's not impossible to get out of this situation. As the statues of dragons throw out mysterious beams towards the lotus, Qingling thinks the legacy of the demon lord also can't be underestimated, as it blasts the lotus into pieces, shattering it into fragments. Xiao Chen curses Hou Yurong for lying as he screams that he tried to kill this demon because he trusted her and she ruined him. Qingling appears in from behind, calling for Xiao Chen, saying that it's time for them to wrap this up. Qingling and Cynic Singer confront Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen questions if he's really going to die today. He thinks that if only he had heeded that woman's advice, he wouldn't have ended up like this. He realizes that he was so unwilling. Qingling bares his fist, stating that he finally waited for this moment. As long as he's able to crush this ant, he will survive the first episode of the plot. Xiao Chen begs him not to come near him. Suddenly, from behind, a person comes in, calling out for Temple Master Bai Qingling to hold on. Cynic Singer questions who's there, as Qingling turns, realizing she is here. She confronts Qingling, as Qingling recognizes her as the Changming sect's Yu Luo Temple Master, Hua Yurong, is here. Hua Yuyong, Kyungju thinks that she was never described in the original game and was only mentioned, but this body recognizes her at a glance. Hua Yuerong is the only junior sister that Bai Qingju loved under the tutelage of Shi Yaoshi. Kyungju feels inexplicable pain in his heart, but can't recall the full memories of the time spent with junior sister. It's as if training in the demonic arts has buried all that is warm in the original plot, leaving only a withering magnolia de Levi of their relationship. Qingling states that so the Veiled decide to come personally, and this vulnerable one's blood storage is truly graced with her presence. Hua Yurong calls out for Temple Master, stating that her disciple Xiao Chen has greatly offended him, questioning how Temple Master Bai plans to deal with him. Qingling giggles, stating that although being treacherous isn't a big deal to a person of the demonic path like him, those who offend him, how can they live? From the Temple Master's tone, making it clear that there is no room for negotiations. Hua Yurong asks the Master not to be afraid of him. Xiao Chen screams out that Qingling is about to die and is just bluffing. The demonic path has no inhabitants. This is the best time to kill him and become famous. Once this chance is lost, there will never be another. A gust of slash comes toward the Xiao Chen, attempting to slash his arm off. Xiao Chen is beyond shocked to see that it was Hua Yurong's attack. Hua Yurong states that since he was going to die anyway, he might as well die under her sword. Her master is sending him off, and this is also the punishment for disobeying her master's orders. Tinsinger screams at Hua Yurong, questioning why she is interfering with the master's actions. Hua Yurong questions why she called him master, stating that there is no place for juniors to interfere. When this vulnerable one first met her master, she wasn't even born yet as tension began between them. Qingling thinks how foolish his junior sister is. He knows that Slash didn't even kill Xiao Shen, and Hua Yurong must be thinking of pretending to take his corpse to save him, remarking how ridiculous it is. He definitely won't let Xiao Shen escape from death. But for some reason, this body's reaction seems to not want him to expose junior sister's ploy, and the information about Hua Yurong in the original game was impossible to unravel. Qingling questions if the benefits of following Hua Yurong's storyline are greater than killing Xiao Shen. Hua Yurong states that this vulnerable one wants to bury disciple Xiao Shen. She asks Temple Master Bai if he would reject this simple request. Qingling states that since she has a request for this vulnerable one, she has to agree to one of his conditions. Hua Yurong states that he really isn't letting anything go free. Questioning what kind of condition it is, Qingling states that the sect master selection ceremony will be held in 1 month, and this vulnerable one will tell the saintess at that time. Hua Yurong takes out the corpse, stating that she only hopes he will fulfill his promise when the time comes. She hopes that Temple Master Bai won't ask for something unfeasible from her, as she will take the corpse away first. She bids farewell as she takes up Xiao Chen's body and moves out. Shinzuger questions Qingling, asking if he is really going to follow that old hag's will, to which Qingling calls out for the junior sister Hua Yuong, stating that at the foot of Juyi Mountains there is a never-withering magnolia de la Vai, and he never dared to forget it in his life. This greatly surprises Hua Yuong, and she pauses before shrugging it off and moving away. Suddenly, a bunch of status bars opens before Qingling, congratulating him for separating great love, and the points earned are 1,000. Qingling realizes that the decision to let Xiao Chen escape is very dangerous, but it is not a bad idea to bet on her. He prays that his junior sister won't let him down. The scene shifts toward the blood storage royal residence of the underground palace, where on the bed Qingling is with Chen Singer. Chen Singer is delighted, thanking Qingling for his reward as she acts like a cat. As the status bars open in front of Qingling, congratulating him for spreading great love, the points earned are 1,500. He is informed that Sen Singer's favorability has reached a threshold, and the host can now begin the trust test. As he begs to leave, Sen Singer likes to explain something while he is waiting and will now be set. Qingling is confused by the word as the status states that he has to confess to Sen Singer about the truth of her Sen family village side story plot. Passing the test will earn him the reward of Sen Singer's eternal loyalty. Qingling questions the reward, wondering if it's eternal loyalty. He remembers that the Sen family's relations plot was about him. Qingling gets up, to which Sen Singer questions what's wrong. He answers that her reward is now over and asks her to follow her master. In the original work, Xieji Six's most senior elder, Li Qianju, once brought disaster upon the world, triggering a crusade between the righteous and demonic paths. After Bai Qingling died, a sword's appearance seemingly proved that Bai Qingyong was the real mastermind behind the Sen family's village tragedy. This revelation made Sen Jing'er, who came from the Sen family village, both tearful, and she couldn't let it go for a long time. In the original game, that was one of the strategies to win over Sen Xiok, and if he had died by Xiao Chen's hand, it would have been him bringing Sen Yakyok here to expose the truth. In other words, even if the system didn't request this, this is one of the main plot points he had to face. Upon reaching a room, Shen Jinger questions her master, asking if this is where he stores his collections, since normally he wouldn't even let her enter. Qing Jingling takes her to a big sword-oiling object, questioning if she recognizes it. Sen Jingling realizes that this is Uncle Murong's sword, and Qing Jingling affirms that this is the Sen family's village guardian cultivator Murong Ti's sword, Lanye. He adds that this vulnerable one knows that the Xingyi family village tragedy is a scar on her heart. The village guardian, whom she respects, Murong Ti, is still missing. As of today, everyone in the world believes that the one behind this is Xieji Six Li Chenzhe. But in fact, it was him who killed Murong Ti and used the living souls of everyone in the village to refine his Dao sword into a soul sword. This is the final truth of the Xian family village tragedy, shocking Xian Jingzhe to her core. Qingling inwardly apologizes, stating that although he can explain the reason behind it, the demonic path has always focused on the results. In order to continue confronting Xiaoqin and Mu Xinlen, Qingling cannot hinder any further rush to his trustworthiness. He questions whether Qing Xinger's reaction will ease his worries, and if he can still continue to trust her. Chen Zinger states that she finally understands that their souls have all been merged into one and will never be separated. All this while they will live happily together, surprising Qingling. Senzinger states that Qingling must truly understand her feelings. She has never mentioned what happened in the Sin family village, but Qingling already knew about it because she couldn't resist investigating it long ago. Seiji 6 Li Qianzhu is a master of evil corpses, and his evil corpse technique torments people by turning them into neither demon nor ghost. Li Qianzhu used evil cops to infect the entire Sen family village, and this is the absolute truth she discovered while investigating secretly. It must have been because the village guardian, Uncle Mu, had no other choice but to offer his life and swear to the master, helping everyone break free from the torment of the inhuman evil energy. She adds that at the very least, everyone is reunited in the form of pure living souls. She bows down, stating that when facing the incurable evil corpses that were unrelated to her master, he was actually willing to lend a hand and save everyone from being refined into an evil weapon. She states that the master is the world's bona fide man of great love, and that he not only didn't pursue the fact that Sin Jingzhe investigated the truth on her own, but even told Sin Jingzhe the truth himself. She is really blessed to be able to serve her master in this life. Qingling is shocked by the deduction process, but questions what's up with her attitude. Qingling thinks that compared to the demon lord Bai Qingling, she is even more obsessed and sick in the head. As then the status bar opens, congratulating Qingling that Sen Xinger has passed the trust test, and the host will forever possess Sen Xinger's loyalty. Qingling knows that he is a demon lord who did unspeakable things, but this pure young girl is worshipping him so fervently. He's really working further and further down the path of a pervert. But regardless, he finally managed to settle Sen Xinger's final trauma. Putting that aside, Qingling questions how exactly he should make use of Hua Yuerun's root. His past memories were cut off right at the moment when he left his junior sister, and to this day, he only remembers her tear-stained face and her throwing a withering magnolia de la Valle. His memories of the time before that seem to have been sealed by Bai Qingling due to being an emotional weakness. He questions where he put these memories, and if it could be a route that can finish Xiaoqian once and for all. Qingling gets an idea that he earned 1,000,000 points today and can directly roll a platinum chest. He opens the rewards interface and selects the platinum treasure chest. The status bar opens, stating that he has left with 0 points, and asks him to select an item from the following 3 treasures. One is the Dream of the Bed of Extreme Happiness, an earth-grade item during dual cultivation that can permanently increase the inner essence of one's flesh. The more people there are, the stronger the effect with the baying power of obedience. The 7th grade treasure pill, also known as Love a Piece of Fire, which would greatly affect female enemies. The last one as the 3 corpses shedding cicada, a 7th grade insect, can be shed into a golden cicada after finishing the technique closely related to poison technique cultivation. Qingling thinks that the 3 corpses of shedding cicada are useless to him, as he can take out 13 different types of 9th grade shedding insects. The bewitching power of obedience is an intelligence item. Using it to break out of a situation is too limiting, and pure strength is still the most important thing. Qingling imagines various things, realizing that increasing one's body endurance and becoming stronger is key. He chooses the Dream of the Bed of Extreme Happiness to store it in the item inventory. Qingling decides that for the next step, it looks like he has to make a move on his second disciple, Tan Tai Lingying. Xiao Chen cries in pain as he exclaims how painful it is while Hua Yuerong heals him. Xiao Chen declares that Bai Qingling is bluffing and pleads with his master, insisting that she must avenge him. Hua Yuerong shrugs, stating that a piece of trash like him dared to try assassinating the Bai Qingling. She further explains that the Bai Qingling knows he isn't dead and deliberately let him go for her sake. Xiao Chen is left confused, questioning what she means. Hua Yuerong pins him down and warns Xiao Chen Chen not to move. She threatens that if he dares to act on his own again, she will personally expel him. She sternly asks if he understands. Groaning in pain, Xiao Chen affirms that he does. Ha Yurong then explains that the Sectmaster selection ceremony will be held in a month, and she cannot afford for him to ruin her Yingui Temple Master's reputation at this critical time. Xiao Chen hesitantly asks if she has finally decided to compete in it. Hui Yurong responds that she needs the Flaming Demon Tower's key. Xiao Chen, startled, mutters that the sect's forbidden area, the Flaming Demon Tower, is questioning why she needs the key. Hua Yurong, taking a pause, replies that an evil person buried something in the Flaming Demon Tower, and she wants to find it to uncover his intentions. The scene shifts as Ye Hongyi confronts Tantai Linyin, stating that the demon should have received what he deserved by now. She suggests they should celebrate. Tantai Linyin retorts, questioning whether she believes her master has died and his sins have disappeared. He accuses her of continuing to slander him, which surprises Ye Hongyi. Ye Hongyi hesitates, but then questions if they and Chen Xing'e should set up a grave for him. Tantai Linyin, with disdain, states that the master wouldn't want to see her, whether before or after his death, as she is insignificant in his heart. Suddenly, Chen Xing'e arrives, calling for the second senior sister. Ye Hongyi questions Chen Xing'er's presence, asking where the master's corpse is. Chen Xing'er, addressing the second senior sister, explains that the master has said he misses her, leaving both Ye Hongyi and Tantai Linyin baffled. Bowing, Chen Xing'er adds that she has delivered her message. Tantai Linyin, quite surprised, exclaims that the master didn't actually die, and that he perfectly countered Xiao Chen's tricks. Chen Xing'er grows suspicious of Tantai Lingyin's condition, questioning what's wrong. Ye Hongyi accuses Chen Xing'er of being a fool and states that her senior sister has long been poisoned by the demon. Tantai Linyin angrily interrupts, yelling at Ye Hongyi to stop talking. She questions why the master is looking for her, knowing that she is the mastermind behind the assassination attempt, and if he wants her to surrender her life. Yixin Cho has no faith in Chen Xing'er. Chen Xing'er denies the accusation, insisting that she meant no harm. She explains that the master only wishes to invite the senior sister back to Yulu Temple for a meal, and even said he wants her to try his cooking, which surprises both Ye Hongyi and Tantai Linyin. Ye Hongyi urges Tantai Linyin not to go, but Tantai Linyin argues that she must. Tantai Linyin questions whether the master plans to bewitch her like he did with their junior sister, insisting that he underestimates her too much. Ever since she learned the truth about the poison in her body, she is resolved never to trust him again in this life. Transitions to an underground room where Chen Xingyi cheers Tantai Linyin on, stating that the master is waiting for her in the room. Chen Xingyi expresses envy that her sister gets to spend time alone with him. Tantai Linyin reflects that she has no choice now and must face the situation, as there is a reason she must see him. As she enters the room, Tantai Linyin bows and introduces herself as the left protector of the general altar. Tantai Linyin, greeting Temple Master Bai. To her surprise, Qingling affectionately remarks that she makes her master's heart ache and calls her Linyin. Qingling continues, stating that he knows she has something to ask of him, but insists she doesn't need his help. He adds that all these years she has drawn a clear line between herself and him, yet now she seeks him out. He accuses her of showing no respect and not even being willing to call him master. Qingling declares that it's time for her to show her filial piety and demands that she join him to take a bath.